Kaz.
Welcome to the FallenGiantz podcast. Finally back with at least three of us. It's been a while, and we've got a new podcast title. Going to be what? Overrated versus underrated?
Yeah,
is that what we're going with?
That's what we're going. Well, this has been long in the pipeline for about 2 months now.
Probably viewers have been listening to me and Nick just say, one day.
Well, yeah, it's just been transfer videos for the last 2 months. But
very good videos, though.
It's good to have you back, Ollie. Look at him. You look starstruck right now. You look shook.
I don't know what to say. I've forgotten how to do one of these.
He's cancelled swimming for this, so we should be grateful.
You should be grateful. You should be grateful.
Should we hold on? Forget about the swimming. Should we just clarify? I'm in Portugal on my holiday recording.
Yeah, Chaz is showing the ultimate commitment right now.
All right. Look, some of us have got better commitment than others.
I've gone to do some scouting, see what Cristiano is doing.
And if you're wondering where Malison is, he should have been back 2 days ago, but his trains are delayed, so he's stuck. I don't know where he's at. He's at the Commonwealth Games.
Is he in Birmingham?
I think so.
Can't get back. Em's in Birmingham as well, and she's already on the way.
Is the Commonwealth Games the most Tory thing I've ever fucking heard?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? But in different news, Boris has gone, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, me and Chaz forget to address the real life issues.
Yeah, we just address the transfers. That's all we care about.
Ollie would have loved it when I was mentioning how Luis Sinestra from Feyenoord has just joined Leeds.
Love it.
All right, well, we might as well get into this. I don't know how to start this, isn't it? It's one of them. Chaz seemed to build an 11. I've got a list of 10 players each, which I'm
I did build an 11, but I've also got a little list of players. So
I think we should start with Ollie because it was so off the cuff.
No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't start with Ollie.
No, it is.
I did mine about 5 minutes ago.
Are we going?
Really built the story around them yet?
Are we going underrated first or overrated?
I think let's do underrated.
We can switch it. We can do one underrated, one overrated each time in that as well. Yeah.
I've gone fully English as well. I'm because of the World Cup coming up.
Like Premier League? You mean Premier League?
But Premier League English players, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because they frustrate me so much because there's a different hype around English players, so that's why I go with English players.
And it would be good if we can just separate these. This would be good for TikTok as well. This would be sick for TikTok. I'm using this video solely for clips. This is it. This is all I want it for.
Thanks. I thought you wanted it for my complete and utter tactical insight.
All right, cool. Fuck it. I might as well get it started. I'm going to get this started. We're going to go for an overrated player first. I may as well start off. Let's go. Fuck it. Let's go with Mohamed Salah. Let's go with it. We're going to start off with it straight away. We're going to start strong. We're going to start strong here as well. I feel like I'm going to be fighting my own corner this one. But I'm ready. Yeah. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for any.
Before we start getting into them, how are we judging underrated and overrated? Because I think
that's what needed to be clarified. Because if you're saying, Nick, you see it slightly different because you're going to be like the way the player plays football and how you deem football. But are we just saying what he's? But the actual overrated is more on what that player achieved from his potential, and his career.
That's fine. That's fine. I still have an argument for Salah regardless.
Okay,
I'm still ready for it. So, all right, off the cuff, we'll start with Mohamed Salah. I think he's incredibly overrated, and I think he's. Have I got an echo? I can hear an echo on one of my.
Not for me.
Yeah.
Okay. I can still hear the fucking echo.
Mate, come on.
I can.
Sort your shit out.
Okay. What shit? Hold on. Let me mute one of you. One sec. Hello? That's better. That's gone now. Okay. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to start off from the back. I'm going to go Mo Salah as... He's probably top of my list as the most overrated player in world football, not even just in the Premier League. I just think he's a sad, damning indictment of where football's gone wrong this season, in this generation. To be honest, everyone
you have to quickly elaborate on that.
No, everyone just seems to laud him as the go-to guy. That's undoubtedly the best player in the Premier League. You know that no one can touch him, and he's just. They're putting him alongside the greats in the Prem now, like you know, with the likes of Henry, other players like bloody Shearer, other players like that, or even other wingers that I think are better than him. Like I think
he's been like
Beckham, Hazard. There's a few players as well on there, but I just think that it's just sad where football's gone, and that's our poster boy of who we rate as the best player for this league. This is our advertisement. He's the advertisement for the Premier League. He's one of the players, if not the player, to draw in, people from all over the world to watch the Premier League. And I just don't think he's a great footballer. That's my main point about it. Football wise, he's not pleasing on the eye to watch. He's not what I grew up on, and he's not. There's still players out there to this day.
You don't think he's pleasing on the eye to watch? You don't watch Salah and you think like, bloody hell, he can move the ball well, or get through 3 to 4 players on his own.
Well, funny enough, once I get into my underrated players, you're going to see it kind of intertwines, and you're going to see why I think he's just not what people make out. I just think he's when you're saying he's not pleasing to watch, he's just scruffy on the ball. It doesn't look fluid. It looks like he's always chasing his first touch. It doesn't fill me with the pleasure. When I watch football, I want to be entertained. He just doesn't give me entertainment.
Who are you? I guess who are you comparing him to? Because if we looked at his numbers, which we can,
the numbers. This is perfect that you bring this up as well. I just think his numbers are so deceptive in terms of what kind of player we're judging him to be. He's a numbers guy, which to a degree I have respect for if you're putting up numbers, but I don't want him in this category of greats, of these great players down the years, because there's so many. I could name 100 better players than I've seen in my time watching football than him.
So I do agree to an extent, because I do agree with the sense of it might not even be just overrated. Like the way he gets spoke about is like what you said, one of the best players that ever touch a football. That for me is remarkably wrong. And the numbers situation is difficult because there's going to be a lot of people saying, yeah, but look at the stats, look at the stats, look at the stats. But I do agree to some extent, as a footballer, I don't want him being that. Well, not that I don't want him, I just don't see him being that legend where some players, like if you think someone like Ronaldo, when he was on the wing, his best sort of left wing, best years of his life. Well, in my head, I think they're untouchable to compare. Like I would rate Ronaldo way higher in them years, in his best seasons.
I can compare him, like left-footed and cuts in. When I think of like Arjen Robben, someone like that, I think he's like leagues better than Salah. I do. That's the thing. I just think that they effectively do the same role, and both of them cutting on their left from the right-hand side. But Robben was so much cleaner with it. He was also a better creator than Salah as well. I just feel like Salah just doesn't fill me with pleasure watching him.
Do you think that we have to look at it slightly differently because the way that football's evolved? So these players that you look at and put someone that played in his position, so Beckham, for instance, in a very good United team, played against very different opposition. Everyone was slightly slower. There was bigger gaps in the teams. Are you unfairly judging him because he plays in a almost better level of football because of energy, athleticism, tighter spaces? Are you judging him?
That's what I'm judging him in.
Because he didn't have the freedom that some of those other wingers that were very talented had.
I think he does have the freedom. And you talk about tight spaces. He's someone that I don't trust in a tight space. My type of footballer is the type of footballer that could get out of a phone box effectively, like the ones that are just completely, the ball stuck to their foot.
He reminds me of Suarez. Very
Suarez is a bit scatty. People fucking hate me for saying that as well, because he's another one that will look back.
But he wasn't like, he didn't play with absolute finesse. The way he went in and out of players. All right, when he gets through, it looks good, but it wasn't a natural sort of glide past players.
Yeah, I just think that the way Ollie was talking about how football's evolved, I think it could potentially, for individualism, it could have evolved for the worse, which is why Salah is my main culprit for this generation as well. That's the thing, because it's all system based, obviously. So Klopp has, he knows how to get the best out of his forwards like Mane and Salah. And Salah's reaped the rewards in terms of numbers wise. But
you're right. He looks better because of his team as well. Yeah, you are right.
Yeah, you could see. I just thought, you know what? Do you know a great example to show you? I watched a fair few of the AFCON, recent AFCON in the new year, yeah. And obviously, I know he's playing for a shit Egyptian team, which you couldn't, you have to take into account. But
and then he's in that midfield.
Yeah, but I expect him in that Egyptian team to stand out. I expect him to be the one that's levels above his teammates. But he seemed to just kind of fade into the team, and he didn't look any different to like Trezeguet, the Villa player that was playing on the other side to Egypt. He looked like he was a player that played for like Al Sadd in Egypt. Or like, if you didn't know Salah was, you would have assumed he's not a Premier League footballer. I'm genuine when I was looking at him. And whereas I know they got to the final, but he wasn't integral to it. He wasn't actually integral. Like, it was just they were defensively good. Whereas I look at like a Mahrez when I watch him for Algeria, like even a few years ago when they won the AFCON, Mahrez is a great comparison, by the way, in the modern day generation. I think Mahrez is levels better than Salah, for example. And everything that Salah isn't, Mahrez is for me. Basically.
But then you're judging it very much on eye test,
aesthetics,
and
that's
what we're
good, Ollie. You're about to bring
eye test and stats, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say to you, Ollie. Though, so if Nick gives us the eye test, I suppose you're leaning a little bit towards the stats, right? So do you think that Salah, to be how highly rated he is? So let's be honest. Right now, I think Liverpool fans and other media rate him as high as like top 3 in the world, in my opinion, or top 5.
They do.
Yeah.
So, but then there's
do you think that player,
because Jamie Carragher and everything leads a lot?
That
what the guy talks about.
Yeah, of course, and the Premier League is very heavily. But do you think that player then, if from now, do you think he's achieved enough to go down as a great?
Well, he's 30.
I don't think he has.
He's 30 now.
Yep. He's won 2 Champions Leagues, 1 Premier League.
No, it's not even 2 Champions. I think he's won 1 Champions League.
1 Champions League, 1 Premier
League. It's just the one. It's just the one where they beat Spurs. That's it. They lost the other 2 to Real Madrid.
There's a couple little but we're talking real trophies. It's just the Champions League and the Premier League.
Well, obviously no, but you can still take into account the 2 cups.
So they've come run up twice.
Right. Basically, he's won 1 of everything. Basically, he's won 1 of everything, of all the cups and the.
He has
FA Cup, EFL Cup, obviously this year.
But unfortunately, Chaz, to answer your question, which is contradictory to my point, is that he may go down as a great, which is not, I don't agree with. But the media are going to put him down as a great, like you said. That's the thing. But whereas
I think they will, but I'm just saying I don't. But think
Chaz, my Mahrez point, I'm glad I stumbled across that, was great. It's a great comparison. Both left-footed, both play on the right, both North African. They have very similar, upbringings to this point. And Mahrez, Chaz, how many Prems he won? 4? Or wait, he won it with Leicester as well. So hold on.
Yeah.
So he's won it. He may have won 4. I think 3 with City, 1 with Leicester.
I understand the point.
And Chaz, that's just backing your point now that I can use that in Mahrez's, and people will be like, oh, but Mahrez played in a better team, which potentially he did. Not much better, by the way, because there's only points difference between them. But Mahrez is Mahrez is the best of both, for example, for me. He's the eye test and a numbers man. Like, not quite the numbers that Salah is, but Mahrez is more, for me, a creator rather than a goal scorer like Salah.
Well, this is the thing, right? Is Salah being judged in a different way because he's not playing in the right position? It's the same thing as Trent, where because he gets no, but I'm not going to get onto Trent because we've done that to death. But because he's playing in the wrong position, in my opinion, where he should be a right mid or he should be a winger or whatever. Is Salah being judged differently because he's out on the wing where really he should be a striker?
He is a striker for me. For me, he's playing in the striker, but he's the modern day striker. He is, honestly, because he's not really playing on the wing. Even like I've heard Liverpool players themselves are saying you're not really. I think Thiago once said it. You're not really a winger. You're a striker. Because obviously they play the false nine, don't they?
Yeah,
so they rely on their goal scorers.
Playing two strikers.
Yeah, they're relying on their goal scorers heavily for their.
So is he?
Wingers,
well, I guess then, if you're judging it like that, you have to ask the question: that is he one of the great strikers? Is he Thierry Henry-esque? Is he like?
No, he's not. He's not, because he's playing in his best system. Like, coming off from a false nine is that position isn't the wrong position. That's the best position for his stats. If you just left him up front to be that number 9, he wouldn't get as many goals the way they play. They play a false nine, and both wide men are like attack strikers, but they go inside of the fullback and the centre back. Okay, he doesn't go directly up against the centre back. Yeah, he doesn't just stand up there like, I don't know, Kane or whoever. And then, so in that position, like Mahrez is a good point. Whether you think he's better than Mahrez or not,
I think that's criminal if that's the case.
Yeah, whether you think that or not, or you think it's close or whatever, I'm not sure if even Mahrez will go down as a great. So how can Salah go down as a great?
It's a shame if Mahrez doesn't.
Then they're doing different roles.
They're effectively different roles, but it's a great comparison to make, in my opinion, as well, because even if they're in different roles, they're still on the same side of the pitch with the same foot, but it just shows you what one can do and what one can't. Mahrez has so much more in his locker than Salah will ever have, in my opinion.
Yeah, like, I don't know how we're ever going to compare players if we can't compare them to.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, Robben's a great one in the past as well, and that as well. I'm just thinking of left-footed players cutting in. Yeah, there's a host of players that you can compare it to, but
I don't have a strong enough argument against to keep this going and say to you that he isn't a great. I think that the amount of goals he scores, what he does for that team, it does deserve him being in a conversation. But but to contradict myself, if he left next year, I don't think that. Why are we even talking? It's about. It seems like a Hazard thing for me. When Hazard was in the Premier League, he was unbelievable. Everyone was talking about him being the great. As soon as he left, no one really talked about Hazard anymore. And I don't think he will go down as a great in the Premier League.
Well, then
I think he will. I think Hazard does. That's the thing as well.
Regardless of if he goes down as a great, then right now, to the media, the fans, just the football world, do you think he's overrated? Because Nick says yes. It's down to us, I suppose, to both say yes or no.
But wait, Chaz, before you do, we end on Salah, as I just want to say, in finals, bar the penalty against Liverpool against Spurs early on, a couple of years ago in the Champions League, he hasn't scored in a final or turned up in a big game like that. In a final, I'm talking about.
That's probably one of the best points you could have made.
That's what I wanted to get in as well, Chaz. I can't even. Remember the AFCON final this year? Couple finals. I mean, there's 3 finals this year that he didn't turn up in.
But he is very consistent.
I'll never take away from his numbers, but you're going to see a common theme in this video as to what I think are overrated players, and there may be a similarity in that.
It just shows why he was the best FPL player to have, wasn't it?
Yeah. If we go off FPL, then we're finished.
I think he's fairly rated for now. In answer to the question, because that's what we're going on. Fairly rated. I don't think he's.
I'm still going to maintain that he's overrated.
I think he's overrated for what they're talking about at the moment. And you're right about the not turning up in finals, because if he turned up and took them games by the scruff of the neck and won them finals,
yes, perfect.
To me, like, I'm sort of looking at the honours and thinking, yeah, he's got one of everything, but he hasn't done enough, and that probably is because of the finals as well. So if he'd taken that, then I probably would be saying he's.
And I do get it, though. Football is a game of fine margins, which we called one of our podcasts there, didn't we? One of our titles was that. It is, because if he knocked it, when he took that down from the air, plucked it from the air in the Champions League final, and he knocked it with his right foot, and Courtois pushed it over the bar, then we'd be saying, oh my God, he's just won them a Champions League and dragged them to win in the Champions League. But that's the point of football, isn't it, as well? Yeah. Like, if we can do
winners normally win
So it is all about is all about how you remember these people and the key moments that they have in their career. If he did that, then we probably wouldn't be having this discussion. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, but that's the way the game is anyway.
So who are we moving on? Who's next then?
All right. Have anyone got any underrated shouts? Any one of you as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Go on. Give me your top one. What you think is worthy of this video? That's not like your top one. That's debate worthy.
So mine is someone that I've always liked.
I'm really interested.
Obviously, I've gone for English players because this person doesn't get a shout in pretty much anywhere really. Is James Ward-Prowse.
Jesus Christ! I can't believe. Sorry. I'm just gonna pause it 1 second. There, we're doing. This is a video for clickbait worthy players, and James Ward-Prowse is in this fucking video.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Just go for it. It's fine.
I suppose it's going to be mainly the Premier League. So yeah.
No, I've got a few shouts outside, but go on. That's
two key points, and we go on eye test and stats. If you look at him, his stats, for instance, has nothing. There's nothing to his name. I actually went on the transfer market, right, and looked at it. He has nothing.
Well, his stats are shit.
Yeah. No honours, no achievements.
Well, I guess honours and that you're not going to get any honours. He's playing Southampton.
No, but he is a player. And then if you look at him on the eye test, everyone always talks about his free kick ability, right? And that's all that he's lauded for. Like people always talk about that. Always talk about that. But when you actually look at his positional play, for one, the way he controls the midfield, he's a proper number 8. He's, in my opinion, worlds better than Jordan Henderson. Like if you put him in that Liverpool team, he would do a much better job.
That's a big statement, Ollie. That's a big statement.
Huge statement. Yeah,
that's a huge.
I'm not having that. Actually, I like Ward-Prowse, but I don't know if I'm having that.
Yeah, I think technically he's a better football player than Henderson.
All right. One thing I'll agree. For me, he's the best free kick taker in the Premier League history. For me,
yeah,
in the history.
Yeah,
everyone that's been it. I mean, I'm advocating for him, but
only Beckham can be in that conversation, in my opinion. There's not even anyone else. I mean, the stats speak for themselves. I think it is them two on the top list of free kicks in their careers in Prem. His technique for a set piece in general, forget a free kick, even for corners, is such a weapon. Such a weapon. It's unbelievable how much whip and vim he gets on his crosses is stupid. It's such a... I would sign him just for that. I genuinely would sign him just for that, because it's so valuable.
Yeah.
But the way... Just before you get into it, Chaz, what are you just said he's levels above Henderson. Where are you ranking him? Give me names in which category conversation he should be in. Right now.
Right now,
yeah. So that the players he should be compared to.
Well, who's in the Jordan Henderson category, really?
They're just midfielders in the Premier, central midfielders in the Prem. You've got Tielemans. You've got, you can even go for like Erdegaard. Yeah, I guess you can go number 10. You've got bloody.
You'd have to look at 8s really, because that's the role I think he plays the best.
All right, you've got Bruno Fernandes. There's a lot of players that you can compare him to.
Yeah, but then if you're comparing him to Bruno, I guess So
Mason Mount, them kind of players.
I think he gives you more than Mason Mount does easily. I'm not a fan of Mason Mount, so
this is ridiculous. I'm going to stop you.
It gives you more.
Wait. I'm not Mason Mount's biggest fan, but Mason Mount's better than him.
Yeah.
Well, stats wise,
you're really rating Ward-Prowse here. Like you want him to start for England then every game.
Yeah.
And you did want him at Arsenal, I know that.
In the World Cup, you want him to start.
Yeah, I'd have him starting in England. Yeah.
I swear we did an England 11 and he didn't choose him.
No, I think you'll find
that's Bellingham and stuff like that.
I don't know if that's actually out on the internet, Jez. I don't even know.
You'll have to go and get the receipts.
Oh, it might be. I think it might have been on a stream we done. A watch along.
I think it was a stream. I think it was a watch.
It's a watch along. It was the FA Cup final because we got bored, so we started naming the England 11.
I tell you where he's between. He is between. So Kevin De Bruyne is up there.
Fucking
right?
hell, yeah.
I think he's miles ahead of anyone. In my opinion, Kevin De Bruyne is probably the best player in the world. But
fucking hell, Jesus Christ, the statements that are going along is mental.
Yeah, just everything that he does, everything he can do is just incredible. And then you've probably got let's put Kevin De Bruyne up here, and then a Tielemans here. Okay, he's in the middle of them two.
He's levels above Tielemans. You're saying he's a level above him.
I'd say he's a level above him.
I think Ward-Prowse is like putting it as like team levels. I would say from like 4th in the Premier League to 10th, between there somewhere. So Leicester's, Arsenal's, sort of Tottenham.
Does he get in any top 16 to start?
Well, he probably would start for Arsenal.
He'd start for Arsenal. He'd 100% start for United.
Instead of McTominay, he's
much better than McTominay.
He's not better than Brett, but anyway, he's not better than Brett.
He'd start for Leicester, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he would, even if it's alongside Tielemans.
He could get in Chelsea's team.
No.
That's a bit closer. That's a bit tighter. That's what I think. I think the top.
Jorginho.
I don't think he'd get in the top 3.
Ollie, I've got a great comparison. What about I can compare him to Declan Rice, for example?
I think they do different roles.
Yeah, but Rice is box to box. Rice does travel from box to box, though. That's the thing.
He does, but he's more of a brute. I think.
All right, Bellingham then.
No,
hard to judge.
Bellingham's better than him.
Yeah, but he's much younger. Like Ward-Prowse is in. We're talking about right now, right?
Oh, what about I've got a good shout. What about like a John McGinn?
No,
what Miles better?
No, the person to compare him to is Henderson, right? Henderson plays in one of the best teams in the Premier League, right? And I genuinely believe that Ward-Prowse has more technical ability than
he's technically better. Yeah, he's technically a better player. I agree.
I appreciate what Jordan Henderson brings to you.
Yeah, more than just a footballer. Yeah,
he's more than just a footballer, and that's what he's always lauded for. But in terms of moving the ball, progressing it, winning tackles,
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I think
you're underrating what Henderson does.
Everything you just said. You've just named Henderson's best attributes: progressing the ball, tackling. Like that's what Henderson's knows.
That's what Henderson is, and then they've got techie players to do the rest of it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I think that Ward-Prowse could do it better.
You're saying if you put Ward-Prowse in that Liverpool system instead of Henderson, you wouldn't see much of a difference. You wouldn't see. You wouldn't bat an eyelid.
I'm not gonna lie. I want you to be right because I like Ward-Prowse, but I don't know if I see it that highly. I don't know if I see it that highly.
I do agree with Ollie to a certain degree in terms of the system. Really, obviously, like we said about Salah, the system really does benefit Henderson and makes him look a better player than he is. And Klopp knows how to get the best out of him. And if you put Ward-Prowse in, maybe Klopp can get the same out of Ward-Prowse, or maybe better, as Ollie's saying, than a Henderson.
I've got a question for you. Yeah. So if you take all the free kicks away from Ward-Prowse, do you think you'd ever notice him? And like that, so that's
a
like,
hard one.
That's like comparing him. This is another person, that never gets recognition. I'm not saying he's underrated or like he needs more clout or whatever, but someone like Romeu at Southampton, he's been there, played for them week in, week out for quite a long time now. Yeah, but then they've got Ward-Prowse that sets up alongside him. So Ward-Prowse gets a lot of hype from his free kicks, and don't get me wrong, they're amazing free kicks. But if he doesn't score them goals, does he just sit alongside Romeu for 10 years? And you don't really look at him too much.
I do understand your point.
Do you look at him more because he scores that goal? Then you start typing.
You have to, because that brings more technical ability to his game.
Yeah, and I agree. He's got fantastic passing round.
And what we're talking about is an underrated versus overrated argument. And for me, the fact that Ward-Prowse has won absolutely nothing, he never really gets in any conversations. He's not in a higher performing team. In my opinion, he's underrated.
I do get where he's coming from. And
I do as well. I do.
A great comparison is that obviously back in the day, Matt Letizia played for the same team in Southampton, and people never give him the credit he deserved. And obviously, Ward-Prowse has gone down the same. Look, Matt Letizia is levels above Ward-Prowse in terms of tech, but in terms of like because of his loyalty to Southampton, he's never gonna have any honours to shout about or anything like that. And I understand it. It's just I think that you've somehow overrated him in the process.
So that's what I was going to say. For me, he's fairly respected because you're so worried about him getting his clout because he's underrated in a sense. that then you're taking it to a next level to overrate him.
Yeah, I might be because I've got my backup. I might be.
You've got to try and not fight your course, of course.
But I'm trying to fight my corner and putting him in between. But I do genuinely believe, like you were saying, I think he could play in a top 4 team, top 3 team. Like I don't think he would look out of place in the top team. Like Calvin Phillips, who I've also got as a someone I want to mention.
Okay.
But Calvin Phillips has just gone to sign for City, right? I don't think that he's levels above James Ward-Prowse. I really don't.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good shout, to be fair. That's a good shout.
And if Phillips is going to play for City, then why couldn't you see a Ward-Prowse sit in the midfield for Liverpool, for instance? And fit in with Fabinho and Thiago. I don't think you would see a drop in quality.
I do agree with you. I'm going to agree that he's underrated, though. I am going to agree with that. It's just not to the level you're talking about.
Yeah, like if he had,
I'm going to say fairly rated for me.
A couple FA Cups to his name and a League Cup or something like that.
All right.
Then he's not going to get that until he gets his break. So he does deserve a break. I agree with that.
Yeah. So I think we can probably.
All right, Chaz, you want
me to come up with an underrated one?
Go an overrated. Go your overrated. Go
I had my underrated.
We'll get into yours. All right, we'll go through like 3 each. It's fine.
All right. Overrated. Okay, I've got one in. I've got a few.
Start off with your strong hitters, your top hitters that you think is it's going to cause some controversy.
Okay, 100% the most overrated player in the Premier League is Bruno Fernandes.
That's not going to cause controversy.
You've done an easy one because everyone agrees with you.
That won't cause too much to me, and people are going to expect me to fight his corner, which I'm not going to because that would be unauthentic at all. So I'm not going to fucking fight his corner for no reason. That's the thing.
I think there's argument.
Actually, I've got a few, by the way, that I could actually say.
But actually, I could argue maybe this is you've categorically said the most overrated player in the Premier League
right now. Yeah, I think he is. There's one that's close that plays at centre back. We'll mention him later.
Well, I might have that person.
I really do, Nick, because I think, my personal opinion, he's rated by the media still. I don't know how. Rated by fans, and he was supposed to be the game changer for you.
Bro, he was. They once said he was the new Eric Cantona.
He was supposed to change the game. He was supposed to get you back. I know you can argue it can't be on one player, but he was bought in. How much was he cost?
Like 50 odd million. It was as well.
Yeah, 50 odd million. It was a big sign-in from Thing. And for me, I think he's the most
false image. He's the biggest false image.
It's like when you actually watch him, and this is what I would advise any viewers to do, is sit there and watch a Man United game and just sit there and watch his passing. Yeah. And what he tries to do, he tries to put the ball in areas. And I get that sometimes it works. It's sometimes set up Ronaldo or certain players, and he's going to get stats, right? But also, we can also ridicule them stats, by the way, because there's been a hell of a lot of penalties, hardly any goals from open play, assists and that. If you get the final pass, can be quite. But the thing for me is, he is so luxury that it's not almost needed in the system. Like it's almost like a wasted player.
It's perfect that you brought him up because he was one of my overrated players. But I'm glad that you've ticked off my list of what I don't need to bring him up.
Yeah,
but if you've been watching, go on.
He's like the Özil got for us. He's exactly that type of kind of.
I think Özil was a better player than him, though.
Özil's technically better, but what he does for Man United, what Bruno does for Man United is what Özil became at Arsenal, where he's just completely redundant.
Well, if you've been
anything to the team.
If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know my thoughts on Bruno. He's a hindrance to my team as well. Just doing it from a fan perspective, that he's another Salah for me. He's another, but maybe not as Salah's not as bad as him as well. But Bruno plays in such an important position in the pitch in the middle of the park that, as Charles said, it's a luxury. You can't afford what he does. The amount of times he turns over the ball and loses it over ridiculous Hollywood passes, just stupid ideas, brain dead ideas, is such a hindrance to the team when you think about it, because we're turning over the ball, it's giving the opposition another chance to attack us each time. And for every wonder goal he scores or absolute that if he picks out
Killer
an unbelievable pass, it's worth conceding 4 or 5 goals each time.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. It's like he's playing against us at times. He's just not. He's not what you need. And obviously, I'm still hoping that Ten Hag can kind of take that out of his game slightly as well on that, and maybe
or develop him slightly different. There might
maybe we'll get a better version of him this season. Maybe, we never know. I'm hopeful, but I'm not gonna put all my eggs in that. I'm not too hopeful either. But he is just everything I don't want in a midfielder, man. Like, he's just not good to watch. He's not what's it called? He's just
elegant.
He's not graceful. He's not graceful like an Erdegaard, like a David Silva type player.
Where they just glide around the pitch.
Yeah, he's just not what I want in a midfielder like that.
That's what I mean. David Silva and people like that, if you watch them, you could see what they were doing for the team. I just watch it and I'm lost at times. And the biggest thing that I've seen, I don't think I've ever seen it. Like, he came in, you won a few games or scored a few goals. And it honestly was like as if... And you hadn't even gone anywhere. You haven't really gone anywhere in the table.
I think the reason that reason is because we were so starved in midfield when we had Andreas Pereira and people like that in it, that it made him look so much better. And United were in a very bad place when he came in. That it made him look a lot better than he actually was. That's the thing. And I just think
I still see people talk him up with Salah.
Oh yeah, the thing is, once I've noticed the common trend, once the media have started their narrative on a player, they will kind of double down on it and not back down on it as well, because they don't look like idiots as well. That's the thing. So
yeah, they can't go back. I get that.
But Bruno, the best player to compare him to is De Bruyne for me. That is the best because he was compared to De Bruyne several times in the last 2 years.
Because that is the new playmaker.
But the reason I'm bringing that up though, Chaz, is because Bruno wants to do what De Bruyne does, similar roles, putting balls into areas, which KDB does do. But KDB does it to such a better level and has such a better brain and knows when to release it, has a better weight of pass, more graceful. He's both footed. He's levels above. He could never lace De Bruyne's boots. But it's a great comparison because Bruno wants to be that De Bruyne influence on United.
Yeah, I agree.
And he just doesn't have it. He just doesn't. And even for Portugal, he never turns up for Portugal. He's not done anything great for them whatsoever. I know he got them to the World Cup in that he got the last goals against fucking I don't even know who they beat. It was fucking North Macedonia or something. But he just ain't it, man. He just ain't it as a footballer. And I agree, he has to be up there, the most overrated players in world football, not in the Premier League.
Yeah, I'm looking at his stats at the minute, and
his stats are decent. His stats are good.
His stats are decent, but if you look at his shots, right? Yeah, 200. And this is since he's been in the Premier League, right?
Yeah,
254 shots. 98 of those are on target, and he scored 36 goals.
Chaz, if you or Ollie try and get up while we're talking about him, his stats in his United career, I guarantee you they look decent as well. If you brought that,
they do look good.
Is anyone can get it up in his actual career before we end on Bruno? Like he's because I reckon he's definitely got over 50 goals for the club already or something like that. Because at one season, I think he was the highest scoring midfielder in Premier League history. I think he went over Lampard in one season. That was when we were getting
penalties.
Yeah, no, there must have been at least 10 out of the 8. I think he scored like, I don't know how many goals
13,
it was.
13 penalties he scored. It says on the 13. Premier League for all of his seasons that he's been in, but been playing in the Premier League, that he's only had 36 goals.
That makes sense. He's been in 2.5 seasons? Or something? He's been in the Prem?
Yeah, that could be right.
36 makes a lot of sense. That's still, yeah.
Yeah, he's been in since 2019. So
January. I think, yeah.
But he's missed 19 big chances. what they classify 19 big chances as, I'm not sure. But I can't try and come into the conclusion on your Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, this could be a quick one. This could be a wrap up. But
I don't disagree with you. I don't like him as a player. I don't think he brings anything.
It'll be interesting to see what people, in the comments or on Instagram, if we get any interactions. There could be some absolute Bruno lovers in this. That's the thing.
Yeah, because he is loved by some people.
Some of our fan base adore him. They've got stan accounts on him on Twitter and stuff like that.
I just remember him. Do you remember when Ollie was going for that awful time towards the end, and he was like saying towards the fans, "It's not him, it's us, and blame us." And
that was Ollie's last game. That's when he got sacked against.
Was it his last game? Yeah. So you just think if you're saying things like that, mate, instead of saying it, just do it. just be better. And don't give that whole like facade around, oh, it's not him, it's that. It just felt fake and everything like that. I don't massively like his persona. And I'm not too sure he brings too much to the team either.
Well, so, I hope by the end of the season, Eriksen's fucking got him out the team. I'm hoping as well.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's Bruno. I think we all mutually agreed on that. He's overrated, isn't it? We're all going to say he's an overrated player, and I find it hard. It's going to be interesting to see if someone can argue that against us.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't see. I think any argument can kind of be shut down quite quickly.
All right, I'm going to go with my underrated player now.
Yep.
Let's go. This is interesting. I think I'm going to. Do I back my boy that I've backed for a while, or do I go for someone else? I'm going to go with Neymar. I'm going to go with Neymar as an underrated. I'm going to go outside the Premier League.
Underrated
in the history of football. I'm talking about here as well. I'm talking on a grand scale here, like not even just to this day. The amount of hate this guy gets is criminal. Like in terms of, he just gets so much hate. People think the reason I'm arguing him here because everyone thinks he's overrated. Most people think he's overrated. I think Ollie you might be in that boat. That's the thing as well. When you think of overrated, you think of Neymar across the world. And a lot of people, that's such the general consensus that I've now made him underrated because he's one of the greatest footballers I've ever seen in my lifetime. See, look, I'm making big statements for Neymar.
You might have watched a lot more Neymar than I have, right? And,
you still had watched enough of him though to make a judgment.
Watching him at like Barcelona and everything like that, in the games in the Champions League and everything like that. Yeah. You know what you said about Salah not turning up in big games.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you think of when you think of Neymar, where he's just kind of almost there as a face. He's almost there as a face, and he doesn't actually add to him. I don't take it away from him. He's got great skill and he's great ability, but in terms of him being underrated, I don't agree with you at all. I don't know. You've got to make your point on how he's underrated.
Yeah, I want to hear before I make a judgment exactly how you think he's underrated. I mean, I think you've got to get away a little bit from how graceful he is.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. I think we should be putting him. Everything we said, Salah isn't. Neymar is, in my opinion. We should be putting him in the greats of the modern game. I feel like not even just modern game. In my lifetime, watching football over 20 years, easily the last 20 years, he should be in the Ronaldinho conversations, them kind of conversations. This is what I'm trying to compare him to.
I think he is. I think
no, he's not. I don't think he is. I don't think he gets anywhere.
What did you say? Sorry.
I think he should be in a Ronaldinho type of conversation. I'm talking about like that. Them kind of players. We're talking about the greatest to ever play the game here. Yeah, and I know you're gonna think that I'm going off about how aesthetically pleasing he is on the eye and how I want football to be played, but what he does on a pitch, we cannot take away, is ridiculous. And I think we had this conversation, Chaz, on the Champions League final watch along, where we had a bit of a debate with me, you, Michael, and Jack, and that about what we want out of football, entertainment, or do you want stats and trophies? What he does on a football pitch is what we could only dream of, and he is like the definition of separating between the average person, the Joe Schmo of this world. That like Ollie, you're going to play football later on, as well, and that you're not going to be able to do what Neymar can do in an 11-a-side professional game, and he just shows the levels of what a pro footballer should be and how far away we actually are from being a pro footballer. Okay.
The way that you're talking about him, though, you're can put him in the same bracket as like Messi, for instance.
He'll never be as good as Messi because Messi's my GOAT anyway. But you can easily put him in a conversation below the likes of Messi. He's in that next category for me.
So you don't think he's even fairly rated?
No. I think people underrate him. That's the point. I think people underrate him, and I think we're going to miss him when he eventually does retire. We're going to realize how much of a phenomenon he actually was as well, because them type of footballers are slowly dying, and unfortunately I want to grasp every last minute of watching him. And
one thing I will back up Nick is when we asked the question. I don't know if this went out either. Sorry if it didn't get in a video,
Okay.
but we said a debate that was used, I think, elsewhere of like, was it Bale, Hazard,
Neymar, Salah,
Salah, yeah, and a hell of a lot of people. I asked people at work and stuff like that. Hell of a lot of people just dismiss Neymar as fifth or last.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but like, because you're probably thinking that he is in them conversations, but a lot of people just dismissed him. Like he was 100% last.
Let me just quickly back him on an international scale. Yeah, he's gonna. I think he is Brazil's all-time scorer. He might only. Well, he's going to be Brazil's all-time top scorer. And fair enough, he's just won a Copa America, which is still respectable because people are lauding Messi for that last year. But obviously, he hasn't won that World Cup, which the likes of R9 and Ronaldinho did. But I don't think that's his fault. That's just the teams that haven't. He's done all he can for Brazil, and every Brazilian legend, R9 already said it the other week. He said he's carried Brazil, that nation, that footballing, they're footballing greats, Brazil. They're the best, international team of all time. He's carried that Brazilian team for, a decade onwards.
He has.
Yeah,
and everyone that thinks of the Brazilian team, its name.
And obviously, Chaz, we know they lost 7-1 in the World Cup, but Neymar got injured, obviously, before Brazil lost that in that World Cup. He was unbelievable up until he got injured against Colombia in that World Cup.
But what you're talking about, I guess, to almost paraphrase it, is that you're talking about him being completely underrated on an eye test level.
No, not just on an eye test. No. I'm giving you just stats now as well. Like he's going to go down as the highest scoring Brazilian of all time as well. And so I'm giving you stats to back it up. He has turned up in campaigns up to the final, for example, and he's turned up he scored in that 2015 final against Juve in the Champions League. He was pivotal in that run as well. And even when PSG got to the final a couple of years ago, which they obviously lost to Bayern 1-0. Listen, I'm going to contradict myself because I said Salah was inches away from scoring for Liverpool, but Neymar hit the woodwork a couple of times. He was absolutely murdering Muller, Alaba, players like that. People don't forget, we talk about Benzema and this great run he had this season in the Champions League. Neymar on the run and in the final was unbelievable in that run up for PSG in Tuchel's last year in the Champions League. There's clips on clips on clips of him destroying top level players throughout the run.
But I guess if you look at the things that, okay, I'm not disagreeing with you. He is a great footballer. He can do different things with the ball that a lot of people can't do.
Yeah,
if you look at him as a person as well, you look at his defensive. If you look at his defensive stats compared to his attacking stats, and I know obviously we're talking about an attacking-minded player.
Yeah, we can't bring up. Yeah,
he does. It doesn't work very well for a team. Like no, I know
agree.
What you're saying, but if you put him in a winger role, you'd feel sorry for the fullback behind him.
I agree, but that's what you get. Neymar's so good that he's some of them players. He's an anomaly in football. He's one of them players that you have to accept that you have to. Like, I know what you're saying. To this modern day, not many teams do accept that, but he is. For me, he's not even a winger. He's just a natural number 10 kind of player. He is as well, that likes to float about, pick up the ball anywhere.
But then I would argue that he is either definitely fairly rated or overrated. No, because people do talk about him. People put him in those conversations all the time. They always say how like of a good. I know what you just said, Chaz, about people not even putting him in.
Yeah, that's what I do. I think I'm going to say deep down. I think he's fair. I think it's harsh to say he's overrated player because of what I do agree with Nick to an extent. I do like what he's done, and I think when I think of Brazil, even when there was R9, Ronaldinho, whatever, it seemed like, and Roberto Carlos, it seemed like there was a lot more players in that Brazilian team that you sort of comes to mind when you think of Brazil. Over the last, I'd say, I don't know, 8 years, maybe 5 years, whatever. When you spoke about Brazil, I just think of Neymar. Like you could say. Obviously,
Brazil as a national team have failed because they had Marcelo and Dani Alves as their fullbacks, which should have been the greatest they've ever had. They've had Casemiro, but they just haven't utilized this team. Thiago Silva's another great player they've had as well. They haven't utilized this team to what they could have.
But a lot of them are defensive-minded players, right?
Which should but it should complement Neymar. That he should have that backbone behind him to flourish. Basically, you're trying to. But like,
okay, I hear.
But I don't think. What I mean is, I don't think he's in that Brazil team as much as he hasn't succeeded. He hasn't won, but I don't think it's been a failure.
No, not whatsoever. He should never be
on an international level. He's been one of the best international players probably in the last 5 years for his nation. If you went on 10 years. If you went so you picked someone from Brazil, you picked someone from Argentina, you picked someone from Portugal, his name would have come under, or would have been the one that falls for Brazil. So
also people, this goes great with my point. People unfairly put him in. They're judging him on his goals scored, his stuff like that. But Neymar predominantly is a creator, which people fail to understand. His actual role as a player, he loves to pick up the ball from the halfway line, and he's creative. Like, he will pick out passes that no one can pick out as well. And that people just assume he's like we're talking about Salah, like a goal scoring winger. Neymar ain't that. That's the thing. Neymar is just one of them old school throwback players, like a Bergkamp, that likes to pick up the ball, get a feel of the ball, and kind of dictate games by just going past a few players and stuff like that.
But what we're talking about is if he is, you're making the argument that he is underrated, and in my opinion, he's absolutely not. Like, you look at the trophies that he's won.
I think he is
where he's been. He's got 15 plus trophies. I've literally just checked it.
Yeah, of course, he's won.
And
so you think he gets enough attention, basically?
I think he gets enough attention, if not more. You look at. Do you remember when he was on the front of FIFA? I can't remember what season that was.
Might be like 2015 or something. I think
he wasn't. No one else was talked about apart from Neymar in that period and stuff. People have talked about him, but it's like Messi now. Yes, there's still conversations around him, but it is moving on from him. And at the time that Neymar was really hyped up, I think he was overrated in that time.
I see what I was going.
He's almost fairly rated.
But my point is, I think he's underrated because I'm personally rating him as a great, like an absolute great as well. So and people will not agree with me. That's why I'm putting it as underrated.
Then you yourself have just said that he's not as good as Messi.
No, but
the way you're rating him means he's in that conversation.
He's in the conversation of Messi and Ronaldo. But to be honest, I still prefer Neymar to Ronaldo anyway. But
you think he's better than Ronaldo?
Yes,
I think is better.
But it's just Ronaldo is going to be hard to argue because he's the stat machine, and it's going to be a long thing to get into. But fine, I do put Neymar. I do actually put Neymar in that category. Actually, I track back on that. I do put him.
So Messi, Ronaldo, and Neymar.
He's in that, yeah. That.
But
there.
When you're what? But then why? This is the thing. Why is no one talking about him in that three? I guess this feeds into your point.
This is why
I guess it does
underrated.
feed into your point. But people, I guess you're seeing it differently to the majority of people, because if people aren't talking about him in that three, then he can't be. So, like,
the way people reminisce about Kaká and Ronaldinho and R9, they're not giving the same. Maybe it's because Neymar's not retired yet, but I don't think he gets the same respect as them players do. Them Brazilian players do.
So the reason I think that though is the PSG effect.
Yeah. And
so
also,
if he'd retired from that Barcelona team, obviously he was way younger, so he was never going to retire. But I'm saying, like, if you kept that, and that's even why I'm not saying Messi's going to get disrespected or whatever, but he has got, like, it's almost like we've just allowed him to be his older days because he's not doing the Barcelona things as much at PSG.
Yeah.
But that's a different debate anyway. But I do think people lost a lot of respect or a lot of hype around
I understand that
because of the PSG effect.
I understood that, and he made that risk because he wanted to be the big man. He did as well.
Yeah.
And really, just to end it, that obviously injuries have hampered him massively as well. Is the thing.
Yeah.
He's been so he's not had one season for the last 6-7 years where he's not been injured, at least for a good 2-3 months.
But then you talk about that, and you talk about people that have injuries throughout their career that plague them, that don't let them be the player that they are. Therefore, is he fairly or overrated? Because that's it. You can't argue that he doesn't have the injuries. You can't argue that.
Yeah, but I'm saying he still performs with the even with the injuries. I'm still putting him in that category. I'm still rating him higher than.
I'm going to summarize my view anyway. I don't think he's overrated, but I'm going to categorize him as fairly rated because I don't see him in the free as high as what you're trying to say.
But Chaz, before you wrap it, are you putting him as high as I'm putting him in terms of the greatest players I've ever seen.
I'm not putting him third if you're saying Ronaldo,
No,
Messi.
forget Ronaldo and Messi. I'm just talking in that class of category.
Yes, just below them. If you put a class of players, a group of players just below them two, I do put him in that. Yep.
And that's where Salah goes, right?
Oh, I think he's better than Salah.
Oh, mate, Chaz, that all wasn't even work. That's not even. It shouldn't even be an argument. Salah versus Neymar.
So what? Therefore, you're putting.
I'm putting the likes of Bale and players like that in there.
I still think Neymar.
I put him in the same category.
No, I don't. I still think Neymar was way better than Bale as well. For I'd say.
No, I disagree. If you're going on a Bale, and this comes from an Arsenal,
I can't.
Neymar.
Yeah, I can't say way better, but that class, that league of players, that group of players,
Hazard,
up there. I put him in that.
But then I feel disrespect. I think just quickly, I think he might be in between Messi, Ronaldo, and then him, and then there's a class below him. He's a real awkward one to put into because I feel it's still disrespectful to that much of a name. You'll see on my Instagram page.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why you're saying he's underrated.
Exactly, because he is in that class where Bale and Hazard and all of those.
No, I don't think he is.
He thinks they're better.
Overrate him.
I think he's better. No, but I think you're underrating him because I think he's better than that. That's what I'm trying to say as well. I think he's better than that Bale Hazard.
Yeah, no, Ollie. I think Nick underrates, so he puts him above, and I think the current fan, a lot of fans at the moment think he's below that. In my opinion,
I think a lot. I think you lot.
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah, I do. I think that's why I think.
Oh, so maybe we're going fairly rated because I would put him in.
I'm fairly rated. Yeah,
but you lot are being lenient. There's some people that think he's incredibly overrated. That's the thing. So
he wouldn't get.
Yeah, I do. That's what I mean. I think the majority of fans say he's nowhere near that league of players.
Yeah,
like he's way overrated.
And if that's the case, fuck you. So, but yeah. But anyway, go on, Ollie. You throw that's Neymar wrapped up.
What are you doing? Overrated?
So I can do a quick one because I think you'll both agree with me because I've got to go to football at 7.
That's fine. Me and Chaz will hold it down for the last.
I'm going to go with Tyrone Mings, Premier League.
Yeah, it's not a big name, but I was.
Ollie's really throwing.
But I said to you, I was going English players. I like people that get.
That's fine.
I was going to. He was one to check off my list.
It's fine. It balances out the video, I guess. But I want one that's we're gonna heavily disagree with.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
What other ones you got, Ollie? What other ones you got, just in case?
Yeah, do you want to say before you go? You might just say somebody else.
Who else did I have down? I've got them all. Jamie Vardy. I think that he is massively underrated.
Yeah, so do I though. As well.
Yeah, I think he's hugely underrated personally.
There's so many names. We might have to do a part 2 of this. I'm not going to lie.
Maybe a part 2.
Yeah, no, genuinely, we can. It's fine. We can do because I've got names on names here. I just realised. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to go into the Tyrone Mings point, but I just think that the way people.
Oh, Ollie,
cut out for me.
Oh, Ollie's dead. Ollie's
gone. He went off early.
I think Tyrone Mings cut out his Wi-Fi.
Ollie, you there?
Ollie.
Well, anyway, Tyrone Mings.
There we go. Ollie's back.
My laptop's dying, so let me just join on my phone quickly, and then I'll shoot off anyway.
I'll hold the conversation whilst you're doing that. Personal opinion, then I agree with Ollie. I think Tyrone Mings is so bad. I really think he's awful.
I don't think he's overrated.
No, I think he is. I
don't think so. I just think everyone should know he's shit. I feel like
but he's the captain of Aston Villa. He started for England.
Surely they're going to move him on at Villa. They're going to move him on because they signed Diego Carlos.
I think this season a lot of people realised how shit it is.
Yeah,
but I do think, especially last season, I think people really actually rated him.
Do you remember, Chaz? It was last season and the season before where everyone was looking at Tyrone Mings and top clubs were looking at him to come in like that to be in that sort of top 4 group. He was being lauded as one of England's best centre backs.
I do remember, yeah.
He obviously he got the captaincy at Villa. When I think it was when Grealish left, didn't he? So when Grealish left, it got past Tyrone Mings, and he is. If you watch some of it, because I've watched some of his like. You know, you get those ones on YouTube where it's like calamity videos. I've watched them alongside
ones,
Maguire videos, right? And I genuinely, if you were asking me about who's better between Maguire and Tyrone Mings,
Maguire's
Maguire is levels above Tyrone Mings,
and
I think Maguire is shit and really overrated.
I don't think Maguire's shit and overrated, but that's. I guess we can get to that another time. But
I can understand that Nick might see it, but
he's a calamity. The amount of like defensive errors he's had, the amount of shit positions he puts Villa into.
Yeah.
And he's meant to be their lead. He's meant to be the poster boy of Villa.
Yeah, I agree.
He is I'm not joking. He is dreadful. You know, when we were talking about the Tyrone Mings, not Tyrone Mings, the McTominay, and me saying he was a
championship
player. Yeah. Tyrone Mings, 100% championship player. 100%, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. Ooh. He doesn't even get into the bottom of the Premier League team.
I agree. Like, I really think he's really bad centre back. I really do.
And I think championship level, Chaz.
Yeah, and I can't work out why Pete. Like, to be honest, I'll be stunned if Gerrard keeps him in. Like, if he doesn't move him on now, because the amount of goals they concede as well, and that
he can't organise the line.
He's not improved. Yeah, it's really bad. And I get, Nick, you might be saying he doesn't get the rating. So how could
is championship level too far though, or not? I don't know.
No,
he'd still be. Mate. The thing is, if he went into a relegation team in the Premier League, like, there's going to be no difference. Like, he's still going to concede loads of goals. Like, Villa arguably have the players to put them in better positions in the league. But if they didn't have them players, they'd just be shipping as many goals as they are with him.
He's a dirty bastard. I know that. He's a very dirty
But this is the thing, right? And in modern, he actually, do you know what? If we were back sort of a decade ago or something like that, he might have potentially been a little bit better because he's that sort of brute force traditional centre back. Yeah. But if you look at him in today's game, where you need to have a high line, you need to get your line in order and get you further up the pitch, so you squeeze space and you make the pitch smaller. And you also need to be able to cross a ball. You need to be able to switch a ball across the pitch and everything.
Yeah.
He needs to be able to break lines with your straight passes and stuff. He can't do.
No, he can't. I agree with that. I think he has all the physical capabilities of being a great one because he's quick and he's strong and he's tall, but he just doesn't have the football brain or the tech. That's all it is. Yeah.
Completely agree. So, in my opinion, a strong one that is hugely overrated. And do you know what this feeds into, which is why I wanted to do a bit of an English segment, is that English players get so hyped up.
Yeah.
When really some of them are flat as fuck. No technical ability whatsoever.
I know, but it's the way you ironically rated Ward-Prowse so highly, overhyped him.
No, but this is the thing that I can't understand, is that why Ward-Prowse isn't the highest rated either. If someone like Tyrone Mings is, like, how on earth Ward-Prowse doesn't get in conversation?
Yeah, I think it's an insult that Tyrone Mings was playing in our centre back position, and other countries wouldn't even look at him.
Because obviously Maguire got injured. He was the first backup to Maguire. He was as well, but he shouldn't be the first backup.
I tell you what,
Tomori is miles better than him.
And
he got shipped out to AC Milan. Yeah. Oh my God.
I would have Chambers in the English.
Jesus Christ! Ollie always has to bring out.
He always has to throw a name. Yeah.
Chambers is shite. Chambers is.
He has to throw a name that's so out there.
Chambers literally partners Mings at Villa. He literally partners.
Exactly, and I think he's the better of the two.
Fucking hell.
I do agree, though. I agree. He might not get
we're all in complete
top media attention as like a Salah or whatever else, obviously for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
but I do think generally he's been overrated for years now. And he's just shit.
But I think he is a big name to talk about, because in the Premier League, like he's a Premier League captain. So if you're looking at Premier League in isolation, he is a big name to chuck out, I guess.
Let's not give him any more airtime, though.
No, I don't think we should either.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave you two to hold down the.
Ollie,
did you have it? Ollie, what was your list? Did you say it, or do you want to just shout?
Yeah, I only had Vardy. I had Vardy and Phillips. Phillips.
Okay. Do you want to promise the people you're going to be back for part 2? Because I already know it's a part 2 coming as well. So
part 2.
And also, Ollie, tell them what they got to do.
You've got, if you're watching this, subscribers, no, because they were
20. Ollie, we're on the 20. 20.
If you're watching this, viewers, we're already up to 20.
Yeah.
So we want you to like, comment, and subscribe. And wait for Nick to tell you what the upcoming plans are.
Yeah, we've got that plan. Don't worry. Me and Chaz are going to have off-camera talks about that. All right, Ollie's gone. All right, we could do two, 3 more players. We can as well. Well, how long have we been recording for?
It's about an hour now, I think, just under. Do you want me to throw one out there?
All right. What are you on? You're underrated or overrated? What did you do first? What was your first shout?
I did overrated. Yeah, overrated. Should I do underrated? Okay, he's actually not in the Premier League anymore.
Go on.
You might have Olivier Giroud.
He was on mine. He was on mine.
Yeah.
He was on mine. Okay, cool.
He's very underrated. I know we want to get one.
When are we going to disagree? When are we going to disagree with one?
Well, you think of one that you can disagree.
Don't worry. You
must know.
I can bring it up. I think I've got a few to bring up. Yeah. I've got one after this I think it will get us talking. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, I think he's massively underrated because what he's actually achieved at multiple. We're not even just talking like one club wonder and saying what he did for that team. Multiple teams now, and people aren't even realizing that he's gone to Italy at quite a latter stage of his career.
Yeah, he's 35,
and just won
34,
and just won a league title, and also. He was the main striker because Ibrahimovic got injured for basically the whole season. Yeah. I don't know what his actual stats were like numbers wise.
I think they were still good, mate. I think they were
still good. Yeah. And also we're also forgetting that France have been without Benzema, and Benzema for years probably got quite underrated as well. He's probably on the list, but he wasn't playing for the international. So Giroud was a massive part of that for years now.
I was going to put Benzema, but I feel like this season he's finally getting the credit he deserves anyway. As well. I didn't need to put him on there because he could win a Ballon d'Or this season anyway. Yeah. Go on, your Giroud point. I can't.
It's hard to. I think it's like I'd be stunned if someone can disagree with me in the comments, or even we might put this on Twitter or something. If someone wants to have a debate, then please reply.
You remember at Arsenal, he was a bit of a joke at points. They called him the lamppost as well and stuff like that up front. So, I mean, did you rate him during his time at Arsenal?
Yeah, I did. And even if you want to go the opposite way, where we were saying get away from the eye test, the eye test for me, the way he brought in players, he brings in wingers.
Mate, for a big man, he's so technically secure. He's so technically big man.
He holds off the defender as a big man, brings in players. He could bring in midfielders.
Yeah.
And then also has this talent of getting on the end of things. Scored some fantastic goals.
Oh, mate, some of the goals he scored down there, like the
ridiculous. Did you see the goal the other day? I know it's thinking about pre-season. What is it? Where they
the
camera
body cams? Yeah.
And he just flicks it over the goalkeeper. I know it's pre-season, but
he's class though. He's very classy. The way he's very technical. He's my type of player. He's my type of big striker. He is as well. Like it's just a weird one. You could probably compare him to like a Lewandowski's type player. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Just maybe not as good. I think it'll maybe be going a step too far.
Yeah, maybe. But I just think he's never really. In any club, he sort of has this knack of being like almost a second striker at times.
I feel like this would have been great discussion 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I think Giroud's slowly getting his plaudits. Slowly, I'm seeing it happen more and more. You're right. Throughout his career, if we look back at it, so he's won the World Cup in front. I know he didn't score, but he was pivotal in the whole campaign for the likes of Mbappe, Griezmann to flourish. He's obviously won the. We look at Arsenal. He scored over 100 goals for Arsenal. Won 2-3 FA Cups. He went to Chelsea. Won the Champions League. He won in the Europa League. He scored 2 against Arsenal in the final in Baku. Yep. Then he went to Milan. Won a title there as well. And that at this age, like you're saying, he scored big goals in Chelsea winning the Champions League. I remember the overhead kick against Atletico. He's got some serious catalogue of goals. That scorpion kick against Palace for Arsenal. He was pivotal. Do you remember that Jack Wilshere goal against Norwich on the last day?
Yeah, quite famous.
He was massive during that, which just proves your point how technically he can link up like that as well in the technical build-up in play.
Also, another thing that people forget is when he came to Arsenal, he'd won the French title.
Yeah, Montpellier. Yeah, it's a great shout. Yeah, he did. He literally came off the back of it and he was pivotal. That's why Arsenal signed him.
Yeah.
Well, Arsenal also signed Shamak for the same reasons, but the difference, there's a big difference in levels.
People forget that.
No, it's
Montpellier
massive.
won
As
the
you're
title.
saying, he's done it for smaller clubs in his own thing. So it just proves that he can drag a team to titles that shouldn't be winning titles. He can still do it at the latter end of his career, like you're saying, and in the peak of his career, he's winning European titles as well, and like scoring over 100 goals for a club. For me, he's in our generation. He should be top 5 number 9s. Big statement. That's a big statement to make. By the way, we've had the likes of Suarez, Lewandowski, Benzema.
I just think his name, regardless, even if you think he's top 10, his name doesn't even get spoken about sometimes. In my opinion.
Compare. Do you think he's better than Higuain in his career?
Yeah.
So do I, but I think people would argue that because Higuain had such a large amount of goals for Juventus and Milan at one point, and Napoli as on that. But
I think even sometimes Giroud's been underrated at his own club.
what about a Cavani throughout his whole career and Giroud?
Yeah, I think he's better than Cavani as well.
Big statements though, because Cavani, if you look at the stats, which I never got them, but I think Cavani, in terms of the last 10 years, he's up there as top scorers in Europe, like for Napoli, and then obviously I think he's PSG's all-time top scorer until Mbappe's going to overtake.
And I agree with that. There will be a lot of players that probably have better numbers than him, but I think he's arguably underrated
more than the numbers
in his team because he sometimes became, a second striker or whatever. But what we're saying is how good he is at bringing in players. So for France, like you said, some of them goals for Mbappe could have been caused by him creating that space. So I just think he's really underrated. He doesn't get mentioned, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you.
Ollie actually would have been a good one to listen to because probably, Ollie probably, I think, wouldn't even have said Giroud as one of the top strikers.
I think Ollie would have rated fucking Calvert-Lewin as high as Giroud for fuck's sake as well. I love the way Ollie's gone quiet on that one though as well. He's completely gone off the boil on that.
Yeah.
All right. So Giroud, I have to agree with you. Let me throw a name of overrated.
Go on. If you got some controversial ones.
Okay. We're gonna go with N'Golo Kante.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. That's debunked this myth of him being one of the greatest, putting him in the Makelele categories as well. Yeah, that's I'm gonna have to really fight this one because I think when we clip this up on Insta and TikTok, I'm gonna get fucking crucified. So
you think he's overrated, yeah?
I think he's incredibly overrated, man. I think there was a point where he was good and his peak was, the start of his Leicester career, winning the league there, maybe when he first joined Chelsea. That was a 2-3 year period, really, when I think he's been good in his career. Bar that, I think he's been shit, to be honest. I just don't think he's... All right, shit's a bit far, but he's nowhere near the levels we're talking. Listen, Chaz, they're comparing him to your boy Patrick Vieira, yeah? I'd see them, and people will definitely argue that he's better than him as well. So
I'm not going to go that far.
No, but that's not me. That's not come from my mouth, bro. I've seen that. So...
Well, I do rate him. I'm not going to call him overrated. So
all right, cool.
This is one we disagree.
Yeah, it's right. So, right, we look back.
There's points I will agree with you, but
let's look back then. So I've given him his flowers. When his flowers, what he deserves. When he first joined Leicester, helped them win the league, massive, monumental. I can never take that away from him at all. And then when he first joined Chelsea, he won a league straight away there when he imparted the Matic in the Kante season. Bar that, he's been no more than just. I'm trying to think.
He's influential for France, no?
I don't think he was in that World Cup as much. I don't think he was when they won that World Cup. I watched France. I watched every game of France in that World Cup.
I think that's harsh. I think
Pogba was
Pogba was, but I think without Kante, Pogba would have had to do more of that.
Also, you got to look between. He helped them out as well. He was another defensive cover for Pogba as well.
Yeah, of course.
But I think Chaz, if you put who are the other options in defensive midfield for France in that? Well, I'm trying to think of other options that they could have played there. I don't really know. That's the thing off the top of my head. But
Rabiot.
Yeah. But I think he's been. We need to get it out there now on this video that I think he's been finished for a while now, more than people think he's been finished, longer than people think. The reason I think he's been finished since the World Cup final. Since that World Cup final, he's been finished.
I do think he's declining. The only thing that I think's a bit harsh on him is, and I don't know why, is since then there's been managers that I think have tried to change him as a player. And
Sorry was the key one. Sorry was the key.
The reason I get a bit up, like back against the wall sort of thing against him, because I think when he's at his best, or when he was his best, was literally playing with a player that does all the techie stuff, goes forward, let Kante just be the dog work.
I think other players can do that though, but obviously I know he had a massive engine on him, which he's known for. He's known for his stamina. Yeah, that's what we all know. Kante.
Yeah.
We've all
and
seen
recovering.
Recovering the ball. But I think on the ball, I've seen players that can do that what he does, but are better on the ball than him. As I said, on the ball, he's trash. I don't care what anyone says. Anyone can try and fight me on that one. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. So on the ball, he's limited. Fuck, he's limited.
What sort of players are you saying then?
I'm looking at the likes of.
Please don't say Declan Rice, because he's just as high rated. It's got to be someone that's not.
Declan Rice is better on the ball than Kante.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying arguably saying that Declan Rice is number one, he's number two, like sort of thing.
Okay, all right.
It needs to be someone that's like middle ground.
Can I just get out there? He's finished. He got hooked off in that 2018 final, and France went on to win it. Since then, he's been crap. And we're in 2022 now, Chaz. There's been 4 years, and people. I know he had one good run. You know when Chelsea won the Champions League a year ago or so. He had one good run. We got man in the match appearances against Real Madrid, Atleti, and in the final, maybe even against City. But that doesn't sway my mind. I don't get blinded by that shit.
Yeah, and I do think a lot of people are now going to say, I agree he's declined.
Oh, bro, I'm going to get hate on this one.
No, but I do think a lot of people are going to realise the decline in this World Cup coming.
Oh, this World Cup, mate. Sorry, last season before, for God's sake. Mate, it's a mad statement to say. This is absolutely...
No, but I think you've made that judgment before even the media have. I don't think there's people even sitting here thinking he's declining.
Well, let me just charge my laptop. Do you know what? I'm carrying on talking. Yeah, I think that this is going to be a bonkers statement to most people.
Yeah.
But right now, I'd rather take Fred than Kante.
Yeah, you're gonna get slated for that.
Mate, I'm
clip that one up.
I was debating whether to bring this up to bring on the hate and the influx of.
The problem is you're talking to someone that actually rates Fred. If Ollie would have gone mental at that stage.
Ollie, listen. Whoever this gets out to, we got our mates Kumi, whoever it is. There's a lot of people.
Please, someone come back at that comment. I'll clip that up for you because.
Let me say it again. Pasta Fred is better than N'Golo Kante. 100%. I'm being deadly serious. You can quote me a million times. I'll say it again. Federico is better than Kante, but because what do you think?
You're saying right now, yeah? You're not saying in his whole career.
No, right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I get what you're saying, and I actually rate
better on the ball. He's better on the ball than Kante.
He gives you more as a player now, and.
Fuck, that is. I'm just ready for this. If this makes it out to TikTok, put us on TikTok here as well. We might get cancelled after our first post.
Well, there's going to definitely be a little clip where you say that statement and Fred just passes the ball off the pitch or something like that.
Listen, I'm going to back my boy Fred all the way. I don't care. I stick to my guns on these players. All right, fine. But as you were saying, we'll get back to what other players could have done that role. I just think. And also, we're comparing Kante to... They call him the Makelele, innit? Although they were completely two different roles. Makelele would sit back and sweep, rather than Kante is an all-action guy that would go and approach players and that he'd be attracted towards the ball.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what. There's one that... It's probably slightly different roles as well, but one that comes to mind that's been a general, a DM in a winning team for years.
Yeah.
And made a huge difference. That's Fernandinho.
Yes, that's a fantastic comparison. Yeah.
And well, this is where I'm actually going to contradict myself because I do think Fernandinho is better than Kante, but I think or has been better. Obviously, he's now left City, but
I'm so glad you brought that up. Fernandinho was and will always be better than N'Golo Kante.
You know what? That's funny because that interestingly. I didn't think of him, but I would have been happy to put Fernandinho as an underrated player on my list.
I would have agreed with you on that one as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's great comparison. Fernandinho won probably 2 or 3 more Prems than Kante. He did as well on that. And
yeah, I'm gonna say I don't think Kante. I don't think I can still bring myself to say he's overrated player as much as you do.
I do, because
I do think he's declining.
He's what we call in football a water carrier, yeah, basically as well. And I just feel like so many players. Again, I'm going to get so much hate for so many players could have done that job in that great France team, and
that's where I see it differently. I see that over the 3 years you're talking about, say, if you're giving him 3 good seasons,
yeah,
I think he did it as good, or if not better, than anyone else.
Yeah, that's the problem is always that.
That's why I can't.
It's that Leicester season that I can't take away from him, because he was so pivotal in that season.
Yeah, he was
underdogs, but also Morris and Vardy were obviously as well. Everyone was in that season.
But talking of water carriers, he was the one.
He was, but I just think that I can't get out of my head. Maybe it's my own delusion. I just can't get out of my head how bad he is on the ball. Like, genuinely, I think people don't talk about it enough, that he even the simple stuff you say he does, like the fucking sideways passes and just giving it up to the creative players, he don't even do that well. I just feel like I just don't rate that guy as a footballer. If he didn't have stamina, well, that's it. He just wouldn't be. I know you can say, oh, if Ronaldo didn't have if he wasn't 6'1", then he wouldn't be able to be good in the air. But I just think I think he's a proper example of we rate hard work. We overrate hard work. We overrate hard work in football. I feel like as well. Oh, he runs around a lot as well, until like that. Like, a lot of players run around a lot, but some don't get blessed with opportunities to play in big. Fucking Darren Fletcher was in big Champions League, Premier League winning teams. He was running around a lot as well. And I'll be interested to see if Chelsea fans
disagree on this one. I think.
No, but I'm interested to see if Chelsea fans say it. Yeah, let me quickly get this out there on Kante. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to. This is specifically for the Chelsea fans. Who would you, in order, where you put in there's 4 players off the top of my head that all play for Chelsea, similar roles, bar Makelele, but I'm going to put Makelele in there because he's been spoken about in that breath. So out of Michael Essien, Ramirez, Kante, and Makelele, how are you ranking them 4 players in Chelsea history as well? And then how you rate them, because they've all contributed to big things in Chelsea. That's the thing as well. So I'm interested to see. I think that's interesting, that one, I'm taking Essien over Kante, for example.
So he was the one that I was putting Ramirez last. And
I'm not. I'm putting Ramirez over Kante. Again, that's the thing. Because I just think Ramirez done what Kante done. Wasn't part of it. He still won a Champions League with Chelsea and still won the FA Cup. But I know my boy Hadji will back me.
It's hard. It's a little bit hard though for Kante, because I'm arguing saying his best season was the one where he wasn't at Chelsea. It's the only thing.
Yeah, but then obviously
to Chelsea fans, they're not going to care.
I'm interested to see though, like specifically for them Chelsea fans, out of Ramirez, Essien, Makelele.
Yeah, let's see if we can get some comments.
Yeah, rank them 4 in order. Rank them 4, I would say. But yeah, so you're saying you're not going to say he's overrated, yeah?
No, I'm going to disagree with that one.
Do you think he's underrated or not? You can't say he's underrated.
No, I couldn't say he's underrated.
Definitely not underrated.
But I do agree he's on the decline. So
okay, that's cool. How long are we filming for now?
I think an hour and 20.
Should we wrap it up here and do a part 2?
Yeah, unless you got one more you want to fire at me.
Want to make it 1.5 hours?
Yeah.
I've got underrated.
Oh, you can save some names. You might be right. It's up to you.
I've got names in here that
I'm surprised that one name hasn't come up, but you might be saving that for part 2 now.
What are we talking about?
One of your favourite players ever.
Okay, yeah. He's on the list. He's on the list, to be fair. There's some big names still on the list on overrated.
Well, I think we need Ollie for them. We might have to do the part 2.
Yeah. We'll do it where Ollie's not in a rush and stuff like that. Two-part series, isn't it? 2-part series we're doing this one. Yeah. And just before we wrap this up, hopefully Martial can get back to his level this season, and he'll be on this list of underrated players as well, because we're talking about lots of Giroud bringing play. Listen, my boy Tony's back with his gloves on, as well. We've got the collar up, brand new kit. He's divorced from his toxic girlfriend. This is it now as well. Honestly, he's got a new hairline.
Let's hope so, because you've been telling me and banging on. And
listen, as long as he can stay injury free, I'm just getting this out before the video ends. He can stay injury free. all season, I'm so confident Ten Hag is going to absolutely get the best out of Tony, and I'm begging that Ronaldo doesn't stay so he doesn't fucking hinder him.
Can't wait to clip that up at the end of the season.
Mate,
when he goes on loan.
Mate, 3-3 in pre-season, yeah? 3-3.
All right, calm down, all right? You look like the best team in the world, yeah? Man United, you're going to be sick. Who you got first game of season?
Brighton at home, mate. Brighton at home.
1-0 Brighton. Right.
All right. Well, all right. So, yeah, that's the end of part one. We've decided now we're going to make it a two-part series because there's just so much to get into. And, you know, Ollie literally just texted us in the group that said he was enjoying that. So we'll get Ollie back on. Hopefully we can even get Senior into this one as well. We'll record again in the week this week because I'm free this weekend to do stuff anyway. Yeah. On that. And me and Chaz will probably film another transfer video this week as well. So yeah, there'll be a lot of content coming up like we promised. This one will probably go out tomorrow. So yeah.
So guys, please like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, we got a few getting the odd comment here and there. We're getting the odd comment.
We're trying to get better with our socials, and TikTok finally might be coming.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that after this. So yeah, be sure put all the in the link in the description will be all the socials, things like that. And yeah, we'll catch you lot in a bit.
Peace.